Hello students, today we are going to discuss error detection and correction. In previous videos we have covered the topic information entropy and source and entropy coding. Okay. After this we have to discuss error detection and correction, for which first of all we have to discuss the types of error and codes. This video contains error and its type, error detection or correction methods, and the error correcting codes. In our syllabus we will consider the forward error correction. Okay, I will discuss further what is the forward error correction in detail. The definition of block code and convolution code is also included in this video, and at last the properties of codes. When we consider all these things, we are going to consider or we are going to study the error and its detection or correction. If we have not defined the properties of code and forward error correction, block and convolution code, it is difficult to understand the code and errors. Okay. Now, the types of error. On the basis of data loss, that error may be content error or flow integrity. Let me explain. For an example, if here it is transmitter and here it is receiver, if a data is transmitted and the received data becomes this, it shows that this is error. Okay. Similarly, if the transmitted data is this and the received data becomes this, it is error. And it is content, the first one. Why? 1 is changed as 0 and 0 is changed as 1. Oh, sorry, it is reversed. Here the 0 is received as 1 and here the 1 is received as 0. So what is the content error? If we are receiving 1 instead of 0 or 0 instead of 1, it is content error. What is flow integrity? If the transmitted data is 110 and the received data is only 1 or only 11 or only 10, in all these cases the length of the received data is also affected. In the content error the length of the data is not affected, but in the flow integrity error the data is lost and the bits are also affected. Okay. This is the type of error on the basis of data loss. Similarly, we can define the type of error on the basis of error affected data, and in our syllabus we are going to consider these two errors. These two, random error and burst. Random error shows that 1 and 0 are changed as 0 and 1 respectively, as I have explained in content error. In our syllabus we will deal with the random error where a single bit is affected with error. Hence we can say in random error the 1 is changed as 0 and 0 is changed as 1, and it can be in single bit or multiple bit. Normally single bit error is called random error and burst error refers to multiple bit error. Let us see with an example. First, let's erase it. Okay. Now we consider a transmitter, a receiver, and this is the transmitted data. This is the received data. Here we can observe that the second bit is affected with error and it is single bit error. It is called random error. But if the transmitted data is this and the received data becomes, what is the case? The first bit is affected with error and the third bit is also affected with error. Similarly, this also can happen. These two bits are affected with error. If single bit error is considered, it is called random error or single bit error. We will study the random error or single bit error and their correction in our syllabus. Okay. What is the burst error? If the block of the data is affected by error, here 2 bits or we can say block of 2 bits, block of 2 bits is affected, then it is called burst error. Okay. And remember this second example. Why? Here 2 bits are affected with error but they are not in the group. This is not the burst error. In the burst error, normally we consider a bunch of data and it is in continuity. Okay, it is the random error, it is the burst error. This is all belonging to types of error. Now let me explain you one thing. In each slide I will focus on the types of error or types of code that we are going to study in our syllabus mentioned according to AKTU. Okay. According to AKTU, we have focused in random error correction in which single bit error is corrected. Okay. For the burst error correction, there is a single code in the syllabus, the turbo codes, but convolution encoder can also be used. Okay. What are the error detection and correction methods? The first one is parity checking, and if you remember in the previous videos I have given you an example of error-free communication over a noisy channel where I have shown you with an example that by using parity bits, we can check the parity and it can detect the error. Okay. By parity checking, we can also correct the error and the process will be called forward error correction. Similarly, we can use cyclic redundancy check and the codes are called cyclic code. The third one is checksum error detection. In our syllabus, we will focus on these two codes, the parity checking and the cyclic redundancy check. Okay. What are the methods? These are the error correction detection techniques or methods, but these are the implementations, and this can be explained by a diagram representation like this. First, just see the name. The first one is forward error correction. It is also called FEC, mentioned in first slide. Here it is, error correcting course. We will consider FEC. Okay. Forward error correction and ARQ or automatic repeat request. What is the difference between these two? Let me explain it. For a transmitter and receiver, if error detection and error correction is considered and someone asks you what is the better, error detection or correction, then everyone will say that error correction is important. If we can detect error only, then it is not sufficient. Okay. Here, a data D1 is transmitted, and here data D1 dash, I am saying D1 dash since it may be affected with error or it may not be affected with error. Okay. Here, receiver detect an error, detect error, but not capable to detect, correct, not capable to correct. Okay. Then how the error can be detected? Here error is detected but the receiver is not capable to correct. Then what it can do? It will request for retransmission. Request for retransmission. Okay. Now again D1 is transmitted. The received data is D1 double dash. Again error is detected. What will happen? A request will be generated for retransmission and the process continues until D1 is transmitted and D1 such that D1 is equal to D1 triple dash and no error detected. Okay. So what is the process? Data is transmitted, the data is received, the receiver detects an error and it requests for retransmission. The data is again transmitted, again error is detected and it is request for retransmission. The process continues until no error is detected. The process is called ARQ, automatic repeat request. Automatic repeat request means the retransmission is requested until there is no error in the received data. This method can correct the error, but it is a repeated process and it can also time taking depending upon the number of transmissions required for no error. What is the FEC? FEC or forward error correction is definitely a process that is mathematically a little bit complex, but for a transmitter receiver system it is preferable since there is no possibility of more time taking or any other problem. What is FEC? A data D1 is transmitted. data d1 dash is received, error detected, okay, error detected, and receiver correct itself, receiver correct itself. It is called FEC or forward error correction. Okay. If someone asks you what is the better, FEC or ARQ, then definitely you will say that FEC is better. There are some methods in which FEC and ARQ is both are present depending upon the error and time management. Okay. If both are present, then it is called hybrid error. In this slide, let me tell you that we will focus on forward error correction. As I have told you that we will consider parity checking and cyclic redundancy. Here I have said that we will deal with random error and burst error both, but we will focus mainly on random error. Here parity checking, cyclic redundancy check. Here I say that forward error correction will be our preferable correction method. The types of forward error correction. The first one is concealment error correction. Concealment error correction shows that you have received a data and you have corrected the data by detecting the error and correcting it, but you don't know about the place or bit of detected error. Okay, it seems that concealment error correction is suitable since we can correct the data, but the bit of the corrected data or the bit affected with error cannot be decided, but it is not preferable since if it is known that which bit is affected with error, then it will be more preferable. The second one is linear error correction, and here we can definitely decide the place of error efficiently like this. Let me explain. If this is the transmitted data, okay, and this is the received data, then according to FEC, here the transmitter will be present, here the receiver will be present, and according to FEC, the data will be corrected here, and we know that this second bit was affected with data since 1 becomes 0 and we have corrected it. It will be more preferable. It is linear codes. What are the linear codes? Linear codes are actually of two types, block and convolution code. But before considering these two codes, let me tell you what is the linear for codes. Let us consider a coding system of 3 bit. If we are using a coding system of 3 bit, it will start from 001. All 0 codes are normally not considered. Okay, 010, 0, 11, 100, 101, 110, 11. Okay, these are the codes for 3 bit. What are the linear codes? Let me say it's C1, C2, C3, C4, C5, sorry, C6 and C7. Add the C1 and C2 with modulo 2 operator. C1 and C2 with modulo 2 operator means we are XORing 1 and 0, 1, 0 and 1, 1, 0 and 0, 0. Just see, if we add C1 and C2, it becomes 0, 1, 1, which is C3 in the code list. This property is called linearity of codes. Hence, in short, we can say if we are adding two codes by using modulo 2 operation and the resultant bits are present in the code list, then the property of code is called linearity and codes are called linear codes. The first code that we will discuss for the single error correction, it will be linear codes. Okay. Now we have to define what are the block codes. Here, block and convolution code. Here are the block codes. Normally the block codes are written as NK block code. NK block code. Here N represents the total number of bits in the code and K represents number of message bits or data bits. If someone says that in n number of code bits you have k number of message bits, then definitely there are remaining bits n minus k, and these bits are parity bits. Previously we have said that for error detection or correction, parity bits are compulsory. Okay. According to that explanation, we are defining block codes in which if we have to transmit k message bits without any error or with incapability of detecting error, then for k message bits we require n minus k parity bits or redundant bits, and the total code becomes of n bits like this. Here it shows that in the code word total n bits are present, in which k message bits and n minus k parity bits. These parity bits are also called redundant bits. Why? The redundant word shows that there is no information content in these n minus k bits. We can use both terms, parity bits or redundant bits, but remember the parity bit shows that these bits are used only for error detection and correction. Similarly, redundant bits shows that these n minus k bits don't have any information content. Okay. In the case of convolution code, it is a little bit different. Here, a block of n bit code is not defined. Here, in convolution encoder is present with a response h of t. Okay, the message bits are considered as m of t, and the output of the encoder will c of t according to the relation c of t is equal to mt convolution ht, where convolution is discrete time convolution. Since here mt will be a digital message, convolution encoder will also provide a function h of t according to digital operation, and the resultant code word c of t can be obtained by this relation. Okay. In our syllabus, we have to study three codes. The first one is linear block code. Okay. The second one is cyclic code, and the third one is convolution codes. Okay. Now, It is the most important part of this video. Since if these parameters for any code word are not defined or not known, then we cannot define complete properties of code words. Okay, and it can be understood by considering an n-dimensional space. But first, let me explain one by one. The important words related to code words are: number one, code word. Okay, what is the code word? We will consider with an example of 3-bit code. Actually, I am taking 3-bit since it is easier to explain and draw. And remember, all zero codes are normally not referred, but it will be considered somewhere in the explanation. That's why I have written over here. What are the codes? Okay, these are the codes. Let's say it is A, it is B, and it is C. All of you have studied 2 coordinate system and 3 coordinate system. Okay. If we can represent these code words in a 3 coordinate system like this, it is A, B, and C, then these points can also be written over here. How? Origin will be 0, 0, 0. That's why I have written all zero code here. Otherwise, normally it is not considered. It is the origin. Okay. 0, 0, 1. It means it will be present over here. 0, 0, 1. 0, 1, 0. 0, 1, 0. 0, 1, 1. 0, 1, 1 shows that in the with respect to A, we have traveled 0, but for B and C we have traveled 1, 1. It will be somewhere here 0, 1, 1. Okay, 1, 0, 0 is present over here. 1, 0, 1. 1, 0, 1 means it will sorry 1, 0, 1 shows that 1, 0, 1 shows that the value of B is 0 and it will be here 1, 0, 1. 1, 1, 0 will be and 1, 1, 1. Actually, it is according to 3-dimensional. It will be somewhere here, opposite to 000, and I cannot draw in 2-dimensional. But I think all of you can just assume it. It will be in 3-dimensional space outward to the plane. Okay. Now we can define all the properties related to code words. The first definition is code word. Any 3-bit code will be called code word written for any data, and you can differentiate when we define code vector also. Actually, if it is written as 001, it will be code and if we write it in 001, it will be called code vector. It is normally representation. Okay. It is code vector. Why it is called vector? You can see if we have assigned three coordinates a, b and c, then it is just like a three coordinate system like ax, ay, az or xyz, three-dimensional coordinate system. That's why I have said we can take only 3-bit example. If you consider 5-bit code, 7-bit codes, you have to draw a 7-dimensional system, and it will be a difficult process to draw and explain such diagram. Okay. It is called code, it is called vector. What is the code rate? If there are k message bits and n total number of bits, then the code rate is k by n. In 3-bit code, the message may be 1 or 2. Okay, it means we can take k is equal to 2 here. For an example, let me discuss. We have taken k is equal to 2, then n is equal to 3, the total number of bits. Then what is the code rate? The code rate will be 2 by 3. Okay. Hamming weight. One one zero 1 0 1 0. Let us consider three codes. I have taken it randomly. What is the Hamming weight? Hamming weight is the number of non-zero positions, or we can say the number of ones in the code word. Okay. Again, what is the Hamming weight? Hamming weight shows the number of non-zero digits or non-zero positions in the code word or number of ones. Here, the number of non-zero positions are 2. Hamming weight is 2. Here, Hamming weight is also 2, since we have 2 non-zero numbers. Here, Hamming weight is 1. We have only one non-zero position. Okay. The Hamming weight in this case may be 0 for this one, or 1. Here it is 1, here it is 1, and here it is 1, or 2. Here it is 2, here it is 2, here it is 2, or it may be 3. Okay. So we can find the Hamming weight for any code word by considering just number of non-zero locations or number of ones present in the Hamming distance. When it comes to distance, you have to consider 2 points similarly to define Hamming distance. You have to consider 2 code words. Okay. What is the Hamming distance between 2 code words? Hamming distance is the number of positions at which these codes are different. The first position, both are different. The second position, both are different. The third position, both are same. The Hamming distance becomes 2. Okay. Similarly, consider another example. 1 1 0 and 1 0 1. Okay, first position is same, second is different, third is also different. The Hamming distance becomes 2y. At second position they are different, and at third position also they are different. The number of positions at which the two code words are different is referred as Hamming distance between these two code words. We will write in short HD or only D. What is the Hamming distance between these two code words? Two positions are same and only one is different. Hence, D is equal to 1 due to the third position. Now, 1, 1, 1 and 0, 0, 0. What is the Hamming distance? Definitely it is 3. Okay. And if someone tries to find out the Hamming distance between code word itself, it will be always 0. Since both codes are same, then definitely there will be no difference at any place. The Hamming distance becomes 0. This is the Hamming distance. Code efficiency. Code efficiency is defined as code rate. It is actually code rate, but eta here I have written eta, but it is normally represented in percent, and that's why it is called efficiency. Okay, it means code rate and code efficiency are same, but efficiency is normally represented percentage. Hamming sphere. It is not a mathematical definition. See this diagram here. It is a center point and it is a center point. And Hamming sphere can be defined as a sphere of unit radius that can be drawn by considering 111 and 000 as center, such that it can cover all the code word points present in this coordinate system. Okay, so what is the Hamming sphere? Hamming sphere is defined as a sphere drawn from 000 and 111. So we can also say actually it is not a single, there are two spheres. So we can draw two spheres of unit radius such that any code word must lie on this sphere or this sphere. 000 and 111 must be center of those spheres. It is a hypersphere since we cannot draw completely or we cannot define it completely in n-dimensional space. Here we can observe it is a 3-dimensional system, but when we are going to study 7-bit code, 11-bit code or 15-bit code, it will be definitely a Herculean task. The minimum distance, the most important factor in the properties of code words. Actually, we have calculated the Hamming distance, and it was just like this: 111 and 110, 111 and 100. Okay. What is the Hamming distance? Here the Hamming distance. Here the Hamming distance is 2. If there are 7 or 8 code words, then we can calculate for all the such pairs where the Hamming distance can be calculated. There are a number of pairs, but you can see if 000 is considered with 111, the Hamming distance will become 3. Okay. Let me write it. 1 1 1 and 0 0 0. The Hamming distance becomes 3. Okay. What is the minimum Hamming distance? You can observe that if someone calculates the Hamming distance, it will be 3, 2 or 1. The zero Hamming distance is not considered since it will be present only when two code words are considered and both are same. So what is the Hamming distance? If we are calculating all the distances for all the possible pairs of code words, then there will be a minimum value of Hamming distance, and the minimum value of Hamming distance for considering all the such pairs is called dmin. In our case, dmin is 1. Here the minimum distance is 1. I said that it is the most important definition. Why? This is the reason. We can correct or detect the error depending upon the value of d minimum only. How? If in any coding system S errors are detectable, then it must satisfy the relation dmin is greater than S plus 1. Here equality is also present. Okay. Here equality is not written, but equality is also considered. So what I was saying, if S errors are detectable, then D mean greater than or equal to S plus 1. Let me write it actually so that like this. Okay. Now if S error are detectable, D min is greater than or equal to S plus 1. If T errors are correctable, D min is greater than or equal to 2T plus 1. And if S errors are detectable and T errors are correctable, then D min is greater than or equal to S plus T plus 1. Actually, this is not clear, so we will explain this by an example. We don't need this coordinate system. Okay. Erase it. D min greater than or equal to S plus 1. D min is greater than or equal to 2T plus 1. Okay. Here S represents detecting an error. Okay. And T represents correcting error. In our example, D minimum was 1. If we take D min is equal to 1, is it possible? It is possible or no? If I am saying D min is equal to 1 and we want to detect S error, what is the value of S? It is 0. We cannot detect errors here. Okay. And here if D min is 1, then for this inequality definitely T is less than or equal to 0. It shows that in the case of equality T is 0. See, If dmin is equal to 1, we cannot detect error. If dmin is equal to 1, we cannot correct error. It shows that for a 3-bit code system, error detection and correction is not possible. That's why I was saying that dmin is so important. And let me explain you one more thing. Dmin is greater than or equal to 2t plus 1. Okay. If we want t is equal to 1, it means single error correction. Single error correction. Then what is the dmin? We are taking inequality at its limiting case by considering equal. Dmin is equal to 2t plus 1, or for the single error correction, dmin is equal to 2 plus 1, or dmin is equal to 3. It shows that if a single error correction is required, we require a coding system such that the minimum Hamming distance between pair of code words is 3. It is not possible in 3-bit code system, and by practical implementation you can find that dmin is equal to 3 is possible for a 7-bit code. If we are using a 7-bit code system, dmin will be 3 there. You can write or you can observe, but if 7-bit codes are considered, the table will be large and the pairs of the code words will also be in large number. So it is not possible to consider all such cases, but it is true that if we want to correct single error, t is equal to 1. In this case, dmin becomes 3, and dmin is equal to 3 can be achievable by considering minimum 7 number of bits. That's why in our syllabus we will study 7-bit code words. Okay. This is the relation between dmin and correctable and detectable error. The next comes Hamming bound and block codes. Hamming bound and block codes. Hamming bound is the relation that provides the error correction and the number of bits in the corresponding codes, and block codes is the first example of error correction code. In our upcoming video, we will consider the Hamming bound relation and block codes. Okay, it is over for the now.